Hi everyone, I'm Jamie. Thanks for getting lost and finding your way here. I wanted to talk through some week 1 specific pickups, pick'ems, and DFS plays with you all. So let's dive into it. I know most of you probably already picked your fantasy football team, and that's fair. I know that I feel pretty great about my team, but if you're like me and you pick somebody like Melvin Gordon, and maybe you just need somebody on the bench to just kind of give an extra support. You may want to pick up a running back or a wide receiver, whatever it may be. So a few people that I like Marquise Goodwin if you need a wide receiver. I like Carlos Hyde as a running back for this year. It's going to be interesting to see how they integrate him into the offense. I look at Duke Johnson as a pure pass catching back. So I think he's going to be catching some balls as well as running. May take him a week to get integrated, but I think Carlos Hyde's the real deal. I didn't like him in Cleveland. I didn't think that was a great setup last year with Nick Chubb and in Kansas City. There was just a lot of depth there, and then obviously Kareem Hunt left, but with Damian Williams and the depth that they had, I didn't know that he was going to get a fair shot, and I think he's a pretty solid talent. So I like Carlos Hyde. I like Singletary, and I know a lot of people have probably picked him up with LaShawn McCoy leaving. I also, if you need some other wide receiver, flyer options, I like Zay Jones. Willie Snead's an interesting guy. Apparently, people are picking up Gronk. I don't know whether they have information that I don't have. So just some options there. People that I've been considering. If Dion Lewis wasn't picked, I like him as a PPR option. I just think that he is a pretty balanced running back. I am not the biggest Derrick Henry fan. I feel like he's a little bit of a roller coaster. A lot of his stats were hinged upon one crazy game last year. And he's kind of like a really weird long run kind of guy that I think boosts his stats. So I like Dion Lewis. He's going to get catches. He's going to get carries too. Probably not going to get the volume of a day in and day out starting running back, but I like the guy. He's a backup running back on one of my teams. So I think he's decent. If you need a quarterback, I don't hate Nick Foles, for the record. I think he's going to be an interesting guy to watch. Honestly, I've got Drew Brees in one league. I like him, but you know what? Depending on how well Nick Foles does in comparison, I don't know. I'm not ruling it out. The guy is a gunslinger, so when you score 5 touchdowns in a Super Bowl, you might be decent. So anyway, those are a few pickups that are on my mind. Feel free to post them below too if there's anybody that you got your eye on. For pick'ems this week, between the Packers and the Bears, I'm going the Packers. Kind of crazy. It's always a good fight between those two teams, but I think Aaron Rodgers is going to come out of the gate strongly. I'm picking the Vikings over the Falcons. I'm picking the Chargers over the Colts. I think the Colts are going to stumble out of the gate. I think it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve. I think Marlon Mack is going to be a solid foundation for them this year as Jacoby Brissett gets settled in. And I think the Colts will be decent, but I think the Chargers are going to win. They've got a pretty fire-powered offense, and I think Austin Eckler is going to have a solid game. I'm picking the Patriots over the Pittsburgh Steelers, although that was a tough one for me because I think Pittsburgh is going to be good this year. I'm picking the Browns over the Titans. I think a lot of people are going to roll over the Titans this year. I'm picking the Ravens over the Dolphins. I don't think the Ravens are going to be that good this year. I'm not sold on Lamar Jackson. I guess he had a almost full year, like a decent part of the year to get some experience last year, but I don't like that situation. I'm picking the Jets over the Bills. I like the Jets a lot more this year. I think they're going to improve. I'm picking the Redskins over the Eagles. Call me crazy. I don't care. For some reason, I had a gut feeling about it. I think the Eagles are going to stumble out of the gate. I could be wrong come Monday. I'm picking the Rams over the Panthers. I think the Panthers are going to struggle a little bit to find their identity. They're going to need somebody to emerge as a target and a threat. I think Christian McCaffrey is going to be kind of their security blanket at first. I'm picking the Jags over the Chiefs. What? I almost don't even believe that I put that. I think I must have been crazy. It sounds crazy, but I'm picking the Jags over the Chiefs apparently. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid for Nick Foles. I feel like you got to throw something interesting in there just to keep it fun. I'm picking the Seahawks over the Bengals. I think the Bengals are really going to struggle this year. Man, Giants, Cowboys, that was really tough for me, but I'm picking the Giants. Zeke not having much time in training camp and, in the preseason is going to be, I think, a hindrance to their performance. And I've never been sold on Amari Cooper. I didn't target him, did not pick him in any league. He is a roller coaster to me. He had one game last year with 3 touchdowns, and I just, I think he's a talented guy. He did not perform well in Oakland. And I don't think Derek Carr is awful. I mean, and I don't know that Dak Prescott's that much better. I think Dak Prescott's a lot more careful and tactical, but I just don't know what that offense is going to look like outside of what Zeke is going to be doing. So I'm picking the Giants. I think that the Cowboys will win some games this year, but maybe not this one. Between the Cardinals and the Lions, this was a really tough one, but I'm going with the Cardinals. Between the Bucs and the Niners, I'm picking the Bucs. I think Jimmy G's return is going to be underwhelming, and I think the Bucs have some interesting threats out there. Between the Texans and the New Orleans Saints, I'm picking the Saints. They will be marching in on Monday Night Football. Between the Raiders and the Broncos, I think this is going to be a really interesting game. I'm going with the Broncos, though. Going with the Broncos and my man, Emmanuel Sanders. So some DFS plays that I like. I am a big quarterback, wide receiver, pair upper, and I love bargain buys. So a couple things that I normally do in DFS, and I fare pretty well. I tend to win more than I lose. I'm not one of those crazy $1 million winners, but then again, I guess I don't stake it all on my games. But I love bargain buys. So what I normally do, I like to mix things up, try to kind of cover my odds. So sometimes I'll go 2 elite crazy running backs. And then sometimes I'll go 3 elite wide receivers and, just pick up some really, really, low salary players that I feel like could have a breakout game. So it's a little bit of a risk there because if they give you a goose egg, that's not what you're looking for. And you need to have each of your players scoring to win some big money. But just some crazy, I'm not surprised by my first one. Just some people that I think are good value picks based off of salary in DFS this week. Nick Foles and D.D. Westbrook. Of course, I would pick Nick Foles. I'm keeping it consistent here, people, in week 1 until I eat my words. Kirk Cousins and Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen and Kirk Cousins both are pretty cheap this week. Sometimes I have to pay for them, and this week I didn't feel like I had to. Kind of my reach here, Kyler Murray and Christian Kirk. So, I don't know. I think Christian Kirk could be an interesting play. Maybe it takes him a while to settle in, but I'm picking him this week in one of my leagues. Some running backs I like I said, if Saquon Barkley has a fantastic week and Zeke Elliott has a fantastic week, I'm probably not picking Zeke this week. I feel a little bit iffy about that, but maybe he's coming back with a vengeance. I don't know. But when you pay for those players, if they don't produce for you, the odds of the folks that you're paying less for are a little bit lower. So I like bargain plays across the board sometimes too. I like Austin Eckler this week because you're going to pay a little bit less for him. I like Leonard Fournette. He's got a good matchup. I like Nick Chubb, another good matchup, and Dalvin Cook, another good matchup. Tight ends, I like Evan Ingram. I like Greg Olsen. You don't have to pay quite as much for Greg this week. Even Tyler Eifert you can get for pretty cheap. Hunter Henry, pay medium range on him, and I think he's a solid threat. And before he got hurt, I guess it was almost a year and a half ago now, he was in rare form and killing it. So I like Hunter Henry. Some defenses that I like Cleveland. I like the Jets. I like the Redskins against the Eagles. So, like I said, I feel like a big Eagles hater. But I think they're going to stumble out of the gate, and I think they're going to struggle a little bit to find their identity. So that's it, folks. Week 1 in a nutshell. So feel free to comment below. Tell me what you like, what you didn't like. If this is a big waste of time, go ahead and tell me. We could talk about it. I hope this was helpful. Good luck in week 1. I hope you start your season out 1-0. Have fun!